Okay, the fruit of the vine. The fruit of the vine. Uh, Interesting when you look at juice, grape juice in the first century. Um, if memory serves me correct, some of you other guys who know Greek, maybe you can help me out if I get this wrong. Is that Iones, Tom? Does that sound right? Iones for oinos. That's right, oinos. Oinos is a Greek word that is used interchangeably. It can be used to speak about wine, meaning intoxicated beverage. It can also mean that which is unintoxicated beverage. If memory serves me correct too, oinos can refer to the grapes that are still on the vine. And so there's a number of ways in which that Greek term and maybe others are used that can help us to understand what's going on, but then at the same time, I believe that context must be applied in order for us to be able to arrive at the proper understanding. Having said that, you have the immediate context to consider. First and foremost, when you're dealing with wine, oinos, or other things. And then not only do you have the immediate context, then you have the broader context. What do other passages say about this? And then you have the overall context. So there's three different areas that you start or that you go to in order to arrive at passage understanding. That is the immediate context, the broader context, and then the overall context. And when we look at the fruit of the vine, the wine, if you would, or the juice that was used in the Lord's Supper, I do not see anywhere in Scripture where that there is the authorization of or the commandment for the usage of fermented grape juice, wine, as we would say. I remember also going back to my childhood, and with the ones back then who would, the ladies and husbands also would be involved in this, who would prepare the Lord's Supper, is that there was at some point, and I don't remember exactly where it was, I'm old enough to remember it, I'll say this, at some point someone came into the congregation, and I kind of have an idea as to who that was, but I'm not going to say his name because I don't know where he is today and what's going on with him spiritually. But this individual came in and was teaching that the wine, the fruit of the vine that the church would have used in observation of their, or in observance of the Lord's Supper, is that it was fermented wine. And sadly, they went to John chapter 2, where the wedding feast at Cana, to prove that. And that's not provable at all. Number one, that's not the Lord's Supper under consideration. That's a marriage feast. But then also, Jesus would not have produced a fermented beverage and served it to a people, tempting them to drink and to get drunk, and then condemn them. So there's a lot of things that would factor into why I would dismiss that. But this gentleman having come in and done that, I remember my Mamo Key taking, she had a grape harbor, so I'm going to think maybe this came from her own grape harbor, where she got her grapes. They squeezed them out, put them in a vat, and added yeast, I believe, to it or something like that, and it went through a fermentation process. I remember they put a huge balloon type thing on it, and whenever that balloon blew up and went down, then it was fermented. And she made that not for consumption's sake, just for the sake of social drinking or anything like that, but it was going to be used for the Lord's Supper. And I believe they did use it a few times until somebody else came in, and we had traveling preachers back then. We had a preacher that would be there different times. In fact, that's how Dawn and I met. Her dad was amongst our circuit preachers, and he would come in once a month, and that's how we met. So I don't even remember if it was her dad or somebody came in. They partook of that with us. Nothing was said until the next time that they came back, And they said, I've taken it that you are using this. And he had talked with the eldership, and the eldership said, well, here's why. And the church says, okay, we need to rethink this. And so they stopped using that fermented beverage. Some have argued and said, well, would it have been wrong to have done so? Well, I believe the context, is it right to do so?